guys. Thanks everybody for coming out tonight. And I know I've been whining and cribbing all evening, right, because of this bloody tornado. A lot of people didn't show up, but as my dad said, I need to dwell on the good things, not whine about the people who haven't showed up. So thanks a lot to all you guys. And please send my thanks to Vivi and a big thank you to you. I really like this place. I did some reading here last summer, and it's like one of the most intimate cafes, I would say, in New York City for a reading. All you guys know, but just thought I'd mention it to you guys. I had a couple of books, actually 3 books that came out this past summer, all poetry. And I wanted to read just like a couple of poems from 2 of these books. One of them is Kaleidoscope, An Ancient Journey of Colors, and the second one is Because All Is Not Lost. And I also wanted to share a couple of poems that I'm working on, a new collection. It's called 101, and it's all full of satire and humor, which is not really like me. My poetry is normally a bit dark. So let me start off with a bit of the darker poems. Make sure you guys are drunk and go on to the funnier ones. The first poem is from this book called Because All Is Not Lost. And the book is basically about loss and grieving, but each poem ends on a very positive note. So the basic message behind the book is nothing is, in the sense that the way good things come to an end, bad things come to an end as well. And it's all about perspective. You have to look for a positive message in the worst of situations. And the reason I like this particular poem a lot is because it has this defiant attitude, which is kind of like me, and is really up for the challenge. So it's called A Note to the Biggest Thief in the World. This letter has to be written, not in blood or tears left by the fading tide, though you would like that, a feast of human vulnerability with an extra portion of drama bread. That is not happening. I won't bore you like a woodpecker. I intend to keep my emotions inside a wordless closet, but my convictions are here to flow, uninterrupted, like the night that sleeps with your secret. We are flesh and blood, no beads in our veins. Every time you prowl, our hearts cringe, like dogs infected with ticks in the nets. We carry home silent waves through puddles. Blame, guilt, ache, stress, etc. Every stone seems to be a grave. Snow sings the blues, breaking branches of wall trees a fold more. The wind pricks pine needles into raw wounds. You wear a blindfold. A tremor makes us reach for the ground. A geyser of overwhelming agony floods families, faith and confidence, path for skull plates. But you should know, we will smile, with thin lips and vivid eyes. We did at one time. We learned to read between the lines. The volcanoes will dry. We won't bathe in the stream of melancholy forever. If anything, there is a lesson to be learned from the sad tales in the old book. A new path can be carved out. To cherish the lush meadow of what's left behind, and not roam dark alleys where phantoms bite like rodents. There will be silver rain, frost will flow, the apple tree will bloom, and you, lost, will become insignificant as our hearts and minds hold you by your toes and toss you far away from the lantern of hope so you don't regenerate like a lizard's tail. I'm just going to read another poem from this book. It's called I Cannot Emphasize Enough. And this is actually inspired by true events. A few years ago, the local trains in Bombay, that's where my husband is from, in India, you know, there were attacks on the local train, like terrorists had planted bombs, and this train was leaving this particular subway stop, or the local train station, as we call it, Church Gate. And my father-in-law was supposed to be on this train. And a meeting happened, and, you know, of course he got late at work, and he never got onto the train. And we've always wondered about it. Think of the people who didn't get that chance. I mean, they were leaving work on time to just get home, and it's all a matter of destiny. So it's a tribute to people who died that day and to the survivors, who lived with survivor's guilt. I cannot emphasize enough. It's not your fault that it was a hot summer day and my mood was bitter. It's not your fault I decided to leave work early to stomp out a black moss of anger. It's not your fault I drowned my eyes with sand and didn't see signs of the dark rain. It's not your fault I distracted my lips with pale fumes as I boarded the train, which never moved. But it will be your fault if you don't claim the dusts of grief. Throw them into the oblivion and move out of this transit world. Thank you. This is a book that came out in August, I want to say, and it's called Kaleidoscope in Asian Journey of Colors, and given where I come from, which is India, everything about this book is really close to my heart. But I wanted to just read two poems from this. The first one is called Talisman, and for Indian Hindu women, part of the whole wedding trousseau is, it's not that your parents give you dowry, but they do inundate you with gifts, like their saris and jewelry and things for the house. And my husband and I were going to move to New York, and I had this major argument with my mother. I don't want this stuff. And, she would try to convince me why I needed to take this cookware that she bought from Germany, or the sari that she bought from somewhere in India. I think in the process of writing this poem, I went from being a girl to a woman who started understanding it's not the materialistic values attached to the gifts that my mother gave me. It was the emotional journey that she expected me to experience. But of course, I was a girl then and defiant, and I finally get it now. It's called The Talisman. Through countless arguments, 3 generations, 65 years of marriage, and travel across 4 continents, the eternal silver tea set stood in my place. In an apartment with just enough room for my thoughts to breathe, it crowded its own space. I part admired, part envied its confident, elegant body and the love handles that had aged with perfection despite my neglect. At times I dreamt of tossing it into the horizon, so the unison of the blues would engulf it. But my hands felt culpable. I thought, maybe it would sense my morals for it and disappear, or maybe not. Like a mote on the head, it stood unmoved, sharing history of the hands that had caressed it, the hearts that had seen the future in it, the lips that had tasted the nectar brewed inside, the souls it sewed together, legendary women from my family tree. I think every culture in this world has its own sets of superstitions and, don't do this, a black cat crosses the street, don't cross right after. A big thing in Hinduism is don't talk about death. If you talk about death, then it's an uninvited house guest. It just comes over and never leaves. So this poem is based on that superstition. It's called The Dark Night. All bad things were ready. Disco, Dracula, Darfur, drought. Mama shared when I was a kid. You missed the classics. I said, drumsticks, dentist, debt. Don't utter his name or think of it. Like an unwelcome house guest, he never leaves. And if he does, never without a fee. Next morning, Grandpa died. Decades later, I'm his age. Skin wrinkled like raisins. Heart full of parched memories. Thoughts, a breeze of desires. Body, a lonely rose and a grave. The echoes of my breath roam the well of loneliness and say his name like a manna. Take me. Thanatos whispers, death is not free.